This is only a short little 3-week run, so we're nearly at the end of it. Next Sunday we finish. I had about 3 days in total to get 37 songs into the console for this tour, because they'll play anything from the back catalogue, and they like to mix it up every night as well, so rather than play the same set daily. It's a little bit stressful trying to get that many songs into the desk. I'll try and do sort of 6 or 7 a day, but obviously the console really helps make that a fast process. I think every song's got its structure, so whether it's a verse, chorus, that helps in that you can copy and paste a lot, which speeds things up. I haven't really been able to achieve it much on this tour because of the speed at which I had to program it, but I try and keep it a more linear thing where I don't necessarily revisit the same chorus cues as I did in previous choruses. I try and keep it a building process, so every cue sort of builds on the previous cue to the end of the song. The speed that you can program effects on this versus, I've used all the other consoles, but this for me is by far the fastest to build really quick, complex effects. And it's the fastest I've used to be able to adjust to ever-changing rigs, because obviously we're not touring an overhead rig. So every venue's got different kit and different quantities, and just literally redoing a layout group, I've rebuilt the effects perfectly for what we're doing without really having to do much work. For me, it's a song-by-song thing. The music tells me what colour it needs to be and what shape the lighting needs to take, and that then drives the effects choice and everything beyond that, drilling down into whether we're using delay times on fixtures because the music tells me it's spread out, or if it's a snap colour change across the whole rig or whatever, the music tells me that. Whether it's hip-hop, rap, R&B, rock, metal, the music will always tell the story, and then let that lead and the lights follow. I've always sort of felt of music as having shape and colour, so I guess that's kind of just ingrained now in what I do after so many years. Now it's just instinct, I think, more than anything. The Avo consoles, I find they're a lot better built for thinking visually rather than mathematically. I decide what the end point is of the effect and build it, and I know it's going to work. I'm not crunching numbers to make an effect do something. I'm working entirely visually, which suits my way of working completely. I like to see what I'm doing. Fundamentally I'm a visual artist, so working in a visual manner is second nature. You're a bit of a translator really between the artistic and the technical side. And I've also got to remember, of course, that most audiences are straight on Instagram with pictures of the show as well, so you've kind of got to keep it balanced for camera almost all the time now. Not necessarily balanced for good cameras either, or people that know what they're doing with the cameras. You end up second guessing yourself quite a lot to create a generally good stage picture at all times in the show, because you never know when someone's going to take a picture. There's a few times during the show where I can almost guarantee all the phones will come up and I go, okay, I did good there. I cannot get a blackout in a venue now because everyone's got the light on their camera phone on. You used to be able to go to black, the artist could shuffle onto the stage in darkness and you could start the show with a bang. Now, I can see when they're there, and so can the audience. It's a little depressing, to be honest. It takes some of the magic away. Quite a lot of the venues have been very challenging because they've got much older fixtures that aren't as capable, but obviously I've got to choose a venue to design it around, so this show's based around the Manchester and here at the Troxy, purely because they're the biggest shows for the band, so it's been designed with the Troxy's rig in mind. We'll do this and then we'll go somewhere tomorrow that's got a load of gear that I really don't want to use, and I'll just look at the show just like, Was it yin and yang, Today's the good day, tomorrow might be a little tougher. Although again, this fixture exchange on this makes life so quick that there's very rarely any massive updates to do. Occasionally changes of gobo rotation speeds and position, and just fine adjustment on position seems to be all I do. We've got the whole floor package, which isn't really that much gear. It's 26 1-meter Martin video Skeptrons, 6 Ayrton Eurus, and there's 10 Mac Auras on the floor and a couple of Hazers. That's all we're travelling with, really. This tour's very limited in that we've got a fairly small truck on this. There's a lot of backline because they've got obviously a huge keyboard world, bass, guitar, etc. So truck space is very limited. So that kind of drives a lot of the design choices on this. We do have video going, but it's on a separate server that's run outside of the console. I'd like to, on the next tour, perhaps get it involved via a media server, but it being my first tour with the band, it's been a bit of an experience kind of getting through the massive amount of content that they've got available over the years of all the archive footage. It was easy to just throw that onto a separate device and let my videotape just play that back as and when. It makes life faster for me as well. It means I haven't got to worry about programming video into cues and things and dealing with changes, whilst I'm also trying to deal with a daily changing overhead rig and a daily changing set list. The band like that I've got quite a musical approach to lighting, and there's musicality in how I approach it. They're a big fan of the Skeptrons and the video doing a lot of the work, so it doesn't need to be an all singing, all dancing, everything moving, changing colour all the time show, although there is a lot of that. But for the most part, we actually let the Skeptrons kind of tell the musical story along with the video, and the overhead rig just kind of fills in the gaps and adds a bit of audience light when we need it. This takes me up to the end of the year, then I'm going to go home, spend some time with the family and take a few months off. A few bands already that we're looking at for next year. A couple of world tours. I prefer a nice long stint. It buys me more time off. The longer I can be out on the road in one hit, the better.